ridiculous. Let me have a look here. But it's beautiful nonetheless. Let's go to T for thrush. And I can't even see if it's flown away. I hope it hasn't flown away. Are you? Yes, it does. It does have a black... Yeah, it is a hurricane thrush. There we go. I was right. I was going to say I haven't seen an olive thrush up here before. They might occur though. We'll actually have a look. But a beautiful bird. Beautiful singing voice, in fact. I'm not going to play its call right now. But I will as when we drive away, because it's one that you do need to hear. It has got a lovely, lovely voice. And they normally start to call now towards the end of the day. So we better listen out for them. But I'm going to have that call waiting and ready for us if this bird flies away or once we move out of the sighting. So let me know. This might be a new one for some of you. Oh, very exciting. So it is a new bird for a lot of you. Thank you, Megan, for that update. Well, that's exciting. Let's see. Megan, has anybody hit 300 with this particular bird? I'm just throwing out random numbers now. Megan's going to have a quick look on Twitter to see if any of you have hit any high numbers with this bird. And that's what's so nice, is that yes, we see a lot of the starlings and the hornbills and the guinea fowl and francolins and spurfowl and the plovers and lapwings. We see them on a regular basis. Every now and then we get to see some sneaky ones like this. I'm actually so excited to play their call for you. Not one that we get to see all the time. And off it goes, so that means I can play the call now. Ha ha ha. I'm actually more excited. Let's see. Okay, video jumper, 159 for you, hurricane thrush. That's a good number. We'll have to try and get you to 160 though. I don't like the odd numbers. Right, you ready for the call? It's actually a very common call that you hear in the bush once you sit and listen to it. There you go. So, and you can actually see the olive thrush around here. Let's listen to the olive thrush call. They look quite similar. It's also quite pretty, isn't it? Quite similar. Maybe you've heard this as you were listening and watching on the dam cam. I haven't seen one up here though, but I also could have missed it because they look so similar. They look almost exactly like the hurricane thrush, except for the part where the hurricane thrush, I don't know if you saw, has that sort of black stripe going underneath its chin. So that's a giveaway. But there we go. Nice bird. Let's keep going. Angama, where are you? Seeing as though we've been talking a bit about birds, Vivian, you're wondering if there are any parrots. There most certainly are. Brown-headed parrots. You often hear them flying over the top of you, and they're bouncing about in a lot of the bush willows at the moment. We'll try and see if we can find some, but a difficult one to get on camera, like a lot of the birds. I find early in the morning is probably the best time to try and see them when they're still warming themselves up. I did have a stick that got caught on the tire, but it's now gone. So we'll try and find some of those for you, Vivian. Oh, and I was continuing with my bird list. So I was checking my bird list, and I saw that I had 330 something birds from early 2015. I actually made a note. So it's now 2 and a bit years later. I'm sure I've seen a whole lot more birds since then. So I'll have to recount. I started as I was sitting just before the show started today, ticking off some more, and I only got through about 3 different species. I went through the list, so I've still got quite a bit of homework to do, and eventually I'll be able to tell you how many birds I've actually seen. But it will just be my Southern African bird list, because some of the birds I don't have in my book. So we're not having much luck at all with the spotted cat. I think we'll, like I said, we'll head down towards Chitwa now and see if we can watch the sunset and hopefully some hippos splashing about. Ali is persistent. We should call her Madam Patience from now on. She's still sitting with the Nkuhumas, and I'm not sure if they're waking up just yet, but I hope they will soon.
Well, I don't know if this is being patient or just decided that I'm more stubborn than all these 11 lions. I think perhaps it's a combination of the two. Now, they've just been up and, well, like they get up and then they go back to sleep and then they get up again and they go back to sleep again. So I feel like if we leave, we're going to miss something. So I have terrible fear of missing out, FOMO as they call it, because what if they go hunting? So I think I'm just going to be stubborn enough to spend my afternoon with these beautiful lions. I mean, it could be a lot worse than this, don't you guys think? I think I've hit jackpot this afternoon. And the light is becoming so beautiful. Don't really want to leave them. Monique, you're wondering if I've ever heard lions sleep or growl in their sleep. I've heard them snore before. I've never heard them growl. So I don't know if maybe they weren't dreaming deep enough. But no, I've definitely heard some of them snore. Funny enough, I think I've heard more elephants snoring when they sleep than lions. But, oh, I lost my train of thought now. Snoring, yeah, but I have seen them twitch like animals do, or like domestic animals do, when it seems like they're dreaming, which is quite funny because then their face will start twitching and their legs and everything else. But it seems like all of the ones here, we have a group of non-snoring lions, all of them in very good condition, no blockages in their airways, no snoring whatsoever. Actually, they're being very quiet, to be honest. I think maybe we need another one of those vultures to fly past and then just wake them up. And the one that was here earlier on is still around. I'm sure it's maybe just going to start trailing the lions and hope that they make a kill. Although it is getting a bit dark, so if the lions do start moving only when it's dark, the vulture will have to start its search again tomorrow morning. Jackie, you're wondering when do I think they ate last? Well, we know that they had a kill on Buffelshoek about a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, and that's the last thing that we know for sure that they ate. I have a feeling though that they've been catching smaller things, because they look skinny, like they haven't eaten a good meal in a few days, but they don't look that skinny as in like they haven't eaten for 4 or 5 days. So I think maybe they have been surviving on smaller things. Perhaps they've caught themselves an impala or two the last few days, but likely they're on to something bigger. So something like a zebra, a kudu would be a good meal for them. I think buffalo would be first prize, but it's hard to tell because unfortunately we're not able to spend all of our night with them finding out. But I think that if we could, then we would see that they eat a lot more often than what we think about, especially during the night. But as we were commenting on earlier, imagine just one small impala for 11 lions. I think it would be almost like a nugget each. Not too many. Wonderful Sunday afternoon, isn't it? Just spending our time with these beautiful lions, sleeping and having a very nice siesta. They're outrageous. They got me going. I really thought that they were going to start moving earlier on because there seemed to be a lot more activity, but maybe they've gone back to sleep. I wonder if perhaps it's the weekend, because Tamba was pretty much like this yesterday as well. He sort of, it seemed for a moment there that he wanted to get up and then just found a more comfy spot and carried on sleeping. Although, you do look like a very cute fluff ball over there, all curled up like that, with that beautiful light coming through. The pile of lions it is. Someone's also quite very much asleep. Funny enough, sleeping with half an eye open, so maybe they do sleep with half an eye open just to look for everything else that's around. You can barely see her beautiful guinea grass that we're looking at, and a beautiful lioness. Seems like Taylor and I are in sync. Maybe she'll help the lions and just let them know that if they go all the way to Chitwa, guys, if you wake up and you start going, you might be able to eat what Taylor's looking at.
We have got some zebra. They've just moved out of frame now, but we'll go up a little bit further and we should get a good view of them. We're not quite on Chitwa, we're almost there. We're still on cheetah cut line, but I can see Gowrie Main in the distance. which means that we're not far at all. We've just got to go across the road and then we'll be at Chitwa, and then a little drive down towards the dam. Now this is the most zebra I've seen for some time, for 5 of them. I'm sure there's a couple more. Let's see which ones are going to stand still. Those ones are walking behind more bushes. Perhaps you two? Will you stand still for us? Maybe. And there go, 2 heads hiding behind each other and just enjoying the afternoon sun. This is quite nice actually. Not a breath of wind out here today either. It is perfect conditions for the prey species. They can hear nicely. Sorry, I should probably finish my sentences before I get distracted. A little bit nervous of us. But I always find zebra, besides the McCurdy-hurdy, they seem to be the most relaxed zebra I've ever come across. They're always a bit wary of the cars. Now there's one more bit further down. We'll try and get them, seeing as these ones don't want to hang around. We'll try and roll into the sighting. Let's do stealth mode. Maybe there's a few more. I'd like to see a little zebra foal. That would be quite nice, I think, and watch them running around. We'll just very quietly make our way towards the zebra over here, who's all on its own. Where's the rest of them? Just you? Are you the last one? It seems as though there are just 5 of them here. Hello. Looks like a young stallion. Are you a young stallion? You look like one. Got a very big belly though. But that's also quite typical with zebras, to have rather large bellies like that. And also using the luxury facilities. And that's just because of the way that their digestive system is designed. They're constantly releasing a lot of methane gas, so they get this bloated look. And that's why you should never just look at a zebra and sort of tell by its gut if it's healthy or not. Always look at the mane. I'm trying to see if the zebra's, if it's a mare or a stallion. Let me go forward slightly. Maybe we'll get a view of, are you going to walk? I'm just trying to gauge if I move or if it's going to pop into the next gap. No, it's going to pop into the next gap. Come on. Now we have to be patient. Let's see. It's always difficult to tell the difference between mares and stallions, especially from a side-on view and when they're hiding behind the bushes like this. But I did think that I did see some man parts that will make it a stallion. It's got quite a thick neck, yes it is. It is indeed a stallion, I can tell now. I'm just looking for the man bits, of course, that makes this zebra a stallion. But again, if you look at his neck, it's quite thick, you can see, whereas a mare's neck doesn't necessarily get as thick as that. He's quite sort of staunch as well, a lot of power in his shoulders. You can hear a little bird of some sort also calling. See if we can find this little LBJ. Now I have switched onto the Eastern Channel now, just to have a little listen to see if there is anything happening. But unfortunately there's a lot of interference, so I can't hear what they're talking about. It looks as though this one was having a bit of a scratch, maybe using a stump that had been used by many animals that were covered in mud, and obviously had rubbed up against an itch, and that left a big black patch on the side of its body, in case you were wondering what that was. Now if the flies are around, now Tesla, who is one of our younger viewers, she's been asking lots of questions today. You've said that the zebra are like donkeys wearing pajamas. That's true, and I know that zebra are also your favorite animal, Tesla, so I hope that this has made your day and put a smile on your face. But the zebra are now disappearing. That means we have to keep going towards Chitwa. Thank you, zebra. Lovely sighting. We've had zebra on all 3 drives that I've been back for. That's quite nice. I just want the McCurdy-hurdy to return. I miss them. And the wildebeest. I miss the wildebeest too. That lived on the open area just behind camp. And I think if they were around, the Nkuhumas would have been lucky enough to have maybe caught one of those animals. But we are going to head now down towards the dam and hopefully have all sorts of animals waiting for us there. Annie is still with the lions, but it seems as though she has found a spider web of some sort.
Well, I cannot really take credit for the spider web. It was Seb who managed to see it in this very artistic view that we are currently enjoying. Now, it seems like there is no spider around there, and it's a bit broken down, so I wonder... I don't know if that is a spider that I can see to the center, or if it's just something that got tangled in the spider web and is moving, blowing in the wind. But look at that. Very hard to tell that there was an actual spider web over there, in between the branches of the trees, just on top of where the lions have been sleeping. Now, it seems like the spider web has broken down a little, so I think the owner or the maker of that web is no longer living all the way up on this tree, on this bush willow that was currently sitting in. And I'm saying this because, well, we cannot see the spider, and it doesn't seem to be in that wonderful condition that spiders tend to leave their spider webs in. I couldn't even think of the word web. So, an old home for one of the insects that's currently not around. Izzy, you're saying thank you, Seb, as you love seeing the little things like spider webs. Yes, I think Seb was very happy to find it. Quite a welcome view from the very interesting web of lions that we've got down here that seem to be very sleeping. They even had the cheek. We had some lions snorting at some impala snorting at them a few moments ago, and you can see that they were not really bothered by anything around them. I think it's too much of a good spot to sleep. There was another vulture that also came flying around and came back onto this area, so I think the vultures were definitely trailing the lions in hopes that maybe if the lions were sleeping down here, it could be a good spot to start looking for food. However, vultures, I don't think today is going to be your afternoon. Maybe you will have to wait until tomorrow. And hopefully these beautiful ladies and cubs will be having something very big to eat. I just can't believe how fast asleep they are. Beautiful little cub, very fast asleep. And what seems to be that hole that is in the middle of the drainage line, because he's very, very comfortable all the way in there. And I think it doesn't want to share it with anybody else. Claimed it for itself. Another little cub over there. And, well, at least we've had one of the females change position of how she was sleeping. This is the one that the cub was grooming earlier on. And now she is pretty much hidden her head and sleeping down there. But what is interesting, you can see all the bite marks on her neck. A lot of those old scars that she's got there, or likely most of the scars that she's got over there, are old mating signs. Because often, or when lions mate them, when the males mount the females, they will bite them on the neck, and that's how they get all those little puncture wounds on their neck. So I'm sure this girl has had a few rough romantic encounters, and that's why she's got the scars that we can look at. Very interesting lions. They wear all of their scars with pride. Nick from London, you say that lioness looked like she's been in the wars. I think pretty much any lion, to be honest, as soon as you start detailing their face, and particularly of the males, you will see tattered ears, scars on the noses, scars on their back legs, on their neck, and pretty much everywhere. The life of a lion is not an easy one. They are quite an aggressive society, even in between them, when they protect and look after themselves. But often when they're at kills, they will hurt each other or smack each other down to get that bit of an extra meal. And then when the males and the females mate, it's very aggressive behavior. And when they go hunting, you can imagine that there are all sorts of dangers involved, as the animals that they go hunting down don't go down without a fight. Oh, what you looking at? Is there anything out in the distance? I think this has been a horrible sleep for them, because they keep waking up, something wakes them up, and then they go back down to sleep, and then they get up again, and so on. Charlie, you're saying that if they were really hungry, surely they wouldn't sleep so much. Well, I think they are quite hungry. However, they're also very clever. So they know to wait, and they are very patient creatures to wait for the best opportunity to arise for them to successfully bring something down. Now, if they don't use the conditions around them, like the cover of darkness, the wind, and the sun position, then they might not get lucky, and they could waste so much energy in just trying to bring down every single animal that they see, rather than choosing a very good opportunity and having a much higher success rate. So I think what is interesting is just as well how patient they can be. Even when they're hungry, they will try to make the best out of the situations and work them in their favor, rather than going at any single creature, because the prey species that they're looking for are also very clever and have all sorts of anti-predation strategies to avoid getting eaten, pretty much. Now, might be a good thing that we've got one female and 1, 2, 3 cubs looking towards the western side. Maybe there's something there that they can hear. Perhaps this will be a decisive moment. I'm not too sure. They have surely kept me on my toes all of this afternoon, because like we said, we've seen them get up, all of them, all of a sudden, and then they all go back to sleep, and then they all get up. So it's been quite interesting to watch all of this behavior. And I think maybe because they are hungry, that's why they've been so edgy. Anything around them might be a good opportunity that they need to check out and see if it's going to work for them. Beautiful. Such beautiful light on them as well. And it's the little things, isn't it, that we can enjoy while looking at one of the biggest predators, or the biggest predator in this area. Land predator, let me put it that way, because I'm sure crocodiles can get a lot bigger than them. And gone back to sleep. Seems like Taylor has managed to go all the way to the dam, and she has found some terrapins. So let's go over to her and see how the little ones are doing today.
I promise I haven't just found the terrapins. There's actually quite a bit going on at Chitwa Dam this afternoon. It's really pretty. But I thought we'd better have a look at the sun worshippers, as Gert calls them, which I think, I'm tongue-tied now. Gert, sorry. It calls them the sun worshippers, and I think that is so true. But these terrapins are about the size of a soccer ball. They must be some of the biggest ones I've actually seen. They're enormous, these two. Just enjoying the last golden afternoon light. So I think you all thought that you were going to come here and you were going to see hippos in the golden light. Well, what a surprise. But it is many hippos around here. There's one just here, and there's even a whole lot more just further in the distance. But before I show you, can you see the crocodile? You see him just going down in the distance towards that knobthorn. You just see him moving. There's the big croc going for a swim. Going to find a spot to rest up, I'm sure, maybe on the other side of the dam. I don't think it enjoyed me arriving here too much, but very casual, not going anywhere in a hurry, just a Sunday afternoon cruise. Look at that. Doesn't really need to use its tail very much, just moving its back and forth very slowly, and it's able to glide through the water. They're quite incredible creatures. They're very graceful in the water. I wish when I swam around that I looked like a crocodile. I don't. I resemble more of the hippopotamus and splash around like a hippo does too. This one, not having much of it, going up and down all the time. Now, there's a couple of little hippos though that are just starting to pop out now, just actually to the right. It's quite pretty. There's two of them are playing in the shallow water. So there must be a bit of a sandbank there, but there they are. And the little one is just at the back. Oh, and the oxpeckers have now joined the party too. So there's really a lot going on down here. The fish eagles are also flying around. They've perched themselves off, hidden away though. Excited, hoping that it is going to be something like a leopard. So I will keep my eyes out as we sit here. So I believe, I must tell you, I was listening to the Eastern Channel, and it seems as though they managed to find Quarantine, and he is on in Coral. In case you were wondering where Quarantine is and what he's been up to, He's walking around at the moment, but I didn't hear if he was hunting or if he was just doing a territorial patrol, but he is apparently well and he's healthy. So that's quite nice. I hope to see him one day. He's a beautiful leopard. Little one, you a little bit lazy there using mom. It almost looks like it's sitting right on the top of her back, don't you think? Now this is one of the younger hippos. There's about 3 of them or so that are quite young. And the water thickneys are just calling in the distance. If you're wondering what that whistling sound was, it wasn't me. The oxpeckers are back, and it sounds like there's a raptor of some sort also calling around here, not a fish eagle. Something else in the distance too. Who have we got there? Where we go? We've got the water thickneys getting ready to start their day. Now water thickneys are predominantly nocturnal. They spend most of the day just resting like this in the shade of trees near the water's edge, and you can get a big fright as well if you don't know that they're there. Who else is around here? There's some hippos starting to call now too. There we go. They're all starting to call now. They're getting quite rowdy. Now, Kate, you're wondering if there are any other birds other than the oxpeckers that sit on top of the hippos. Yes, there are. Cattle egrets. We often see cattle egrets and herons. I have seen a grey heron and a black-headed heron before sitting on top of the back of a hippopotamus. So you can get a number of different bird species that will use them. But this is the perfect time. Oh, there's a little black crake. This could be a new one for you. Let's see if it pops up. It's just gone. There it is. Did you see it? Oh, well done. You may have got a quick glimpse. It's just running to the left. It might pop up just on the other side of that ridge. Let's see. Keep coming this way. There's a little black crake, and they're quite nice birds. We don't often get to see them. Just keeping my eye out. Let's see if it is going to run. I see it doing the same thing every time I come here. It runs from the right-hand side of this island and then shoots across the middle of the island and down back on the other side, closer towards the lodge. But it has now camouflaged itself. It's hidden itself. And unfortunately, we're quite limited. We can't reposition just because there's many gremlins around here. And any sign of restarting the car, then they jump on board and they attack us. I'm just trying to have a look and see what else is out on the dam. What else I can see? Oh, there's the crake. There it is. Yay! This is a different one though. Oh, that's quite nice. This could be another new bird for you. They're quite small. They're not particularly big. I think those terrapins would give that crake a run for its money. They were much larger than it. And then, of course, the water thickney just preening its feathers. Like I said, getting ready to start the day. So there we go. We got the crake. That was nice. What else can I find that's come down to the water's edge? The family of Egyptian geese are just off to the right, and the goslings have actually grown up quite a bit. They're almost unrecognizable now. From the last time that I saw them, they were quite small. There's one. That one looks a bit like an adult. And the other, oh, you can't. We're stuck, and I'm stuck. But there's actually an entire family of them. There we go. There's some of the younger ones. Not quite the same size as the adults just yet. And the plumage is just not quite as colourful. They've still got a bit of growing to do. No one else coming down to drink? No pied kingfishers or giant kingfishers lurking about? Not that I can see just yet. Very quiet. I would appreciate those guinea fowls now. I'm going to butcher this name. I'm so sorry. The net strap, I think, was the name. I'm so sorry. I'm just struggling to hear Megan slightly. Your question was net strack. Oh, almost. Okay, I didn't do it too badly there. Sorry about that. But your question was, how long are the baby hippos dependent on mom, and do the males play any role in the upbringing of the hippos? So let's start with the males. No, not typically. They're there to provide protection for, of course, the entire pod. There's a big wave of water. Obviously, the hippos are getting quite rowdy now. They always do at this time of the day, rolling around and splashing about. So we'll keep an eye out to see if any of them open up their mouths for us. That would be quite nice. So I suppose they sort of help out a little bit, but just for protection. But that role can change. If a new, younger, stronger, fitter male comes in, he'll chase out the dominant bull and then just continue looking after the entire family. But the hippo calves are reliant on their mom for the first couple of years of their life, so for about 2 years or so. And then they'll start becoming less and less dependent on them. I'm trying to see this. I can't see any particularly big bulls around here today. I'm just scanning. There's just a few that have got their heads popping up at the water. Who are you? It's very difficult to tell if they're male or female when they're in the water and on their own like this. This one's eyes look a little bit unusual. Does anyone else think so? Maybe it's just the reflection of the light. I'm hoping it's just the reflection of the light. Otherwise, this hippo doesn't look like it'd be able to see very... Oh no, what has it got in its eye? Maybe a bit of gunk or something? A bit of mucus build-up, it looks like, maybe? Quite difficult to see. It is quite far away. But I don't think that would be inhibiting the... Look at that, that's quite interesting. Okay, so hang on, I'm going to go into something here very quickly. So there's a parasite called the ocular tremor, and it's a specific type of parasite that lives in the eye of hippos, and it's unique to a hippopotamus. If the hippos go extinct, so does this particular species of parasite. And I wonder if this is perhaps not the cause of it. I've never actually seen it before. I've just read about it, and I met a parasite specialist once. Can you believe that? What a small world we live in. From one of the universities in the area, and he was telling me about this particular parasite, but he didn't have any evidence to sort of show me, but it can make hippos blind. So I wonder if that's not the beginning. It'd be quite interesting. I'll have to go back though and do a bit of research and see if I can find any pictures, but that's quite interesting. When it was staring at me, you couldn't see its eyes at all, but when it turns its head sideways, you can see that it's something there. And I thought it was maybe mucus, but it's on both, exactly the same on both eyes. So that's quite interesting, actually. Maybe some of you have seen something like that. That hippo, the little one, looks like it was smiling there for a moment, the way that it looked at us. I actually wish we could get a lot closer so that we could get a better view and do a closer inspection. Okay, being sent off on its way. You go back to where you belong. I wonder if that is not mom though. Just saying, I'm not tolerating you just now. But they're quite quick in the water. You saw that little one just zoot off like a little jet. Yes, come out of the water. Come closer to us, please. This is so interesting. Now, Tesla, who is 7 years old, is wondering why the hippos go under the water so much. So Tesla, it's important for the hippos. It helps them keep nice and cool, and they're more aquatic than anything. They need to keep their skin nice and moist, and it also prevents them from getting sunburnt. So they can't spend most of their day out in the sun. Though in winter the sun is not as harsh, so they do tend to spend a little bit of time outside the water during the day, but they've got to make sure that they keep their skin all covered. There's another one of the little ones coming over to play. They follow each other around all the time. So at least living in a family group like this, a pod, they will have sort of others to keep them entertained. There's another hippo just to the left of that that's exposed quite a bit of its body. There we go. Hello. This is lovely. Here we go. One opening its mouth. Oh, move out the way. We want to see if that hippo has still got its tonsils. And blocked our view. And that looks like a female though as well. But also covered in scratches. So sometimes, or it could be a young bull, but you do tend to see some females that have got a couple of scratches on their bodies. It isn't uncommon. They do get into altercations with each other quite often. And the bulls can be quite rough. That little one, just nudging that one on. Off you go. This is lovely interaction that we're seeing. And it just shows you how they're going to play follow my leader. The guinea fowl have finally arrived. They're calling on the other side of the dam now. I was waiting for their arrival. You can almost guarantee that you are going to see guinea fowl at the water's edge just before sunset. How wonderful. I think we'll see if we can get a different angle of these hippos and see what else they get up to. The lions have now started grooming themselves. I'm not sure if they're going to go back to sleep or not. I hope they don't, but I'm sure Ali will tell you more.
they have finally started grooming, so it seems like it's Amber Eyes and that younger lioness that have decided maybe it's time to start the nighttime activities. That is a very thorough tick removal strategy that you've got going on there. That was quite funny. Oh, I'm dropping my mic here. Now, it's a good thing that we've got these two lionesses that are grooming each other so thoroughly, because it's maybe perhaps a good indication that the rest of the pride is going to be forced into waking up quite soon, which we really hope. Perhaps I wonder if we can see some of the ticks that you're trying to remove. So grooming each other is such an important part of the lion dynamics. It is perhaps the most important thing that they do in terms of keeping good relationships, grooming one another, and just reinforcing those social bonds and making sure that everybody knows that everything is well in the pride. They're all in this together and that there's some affection shown. And of course, then there's the very practical side of it, that any ticks, any residues of dirt that might be on their skin, then they are removed by another lion, who very likely can get to certain spots where a lion cannot get on its own body, because they sometimes just cannot contort in certain directions, especially underneath their necks, behind their necks, or around their ears. Oh, this is such a wonderful moment between the two of them. Now it's just the two of them that have been doing this, and the one on the right, she's the one that started grooming, and kind of maybe she's the one that's decided that it's enough sleep, maybe it's time to start moving around. Of course, as I say that, you have to go lay down. Elijah from Huntsville, you're 7 years old and you're wondering if lions sleep during the night. They can sleep during the night. I have seen them sleep during the night. However, they will also move a lot more during the night, and that's why they sleep for such a long part of the day. Yep, somebody's got his paw on somebody, no, on their own head. I thought maybe perhaps they were putting it on each other's, but no, look at them, both of them doing the same thing. I think they've come to the same yoga class together this afternoon. The contorting lion pose. Very thorough presses, just getting rid of anything that might be in between the toes. Now they're so tangled up that I don't understand if she is looking for stuff in her own toes or if she's helping the other female's toes. I think maybe she's just doing her own toes, just by the angle. Very tough to tell. I don't think that's your foot. That's not your paw. Maybe it is. Oh, it was. Kobe, you're 15 years old and you're wondering what teeth she uses to get the ticks up. Well, she'll use her front teeth and her upper front and bottom front teeth. They are somewhat similar in structure to our front teeth, so those ones are easier to use as a comb to try and get those big fat ticks off of them. Sometimes that's why also they do that, almost like biting, but they don't really bite each other. It's just to try and loosen them and get them out. Interesting. Now there are some oxpeckers that I can hear in the distance, which can be a good indication that perhaps there's a big mammal coming into the drainage lines. So maybe these lionesses have heard it too. They definitely looked into the area where the oxpeckers were calling. Oh, look at that. Well, that's a bit rude. And maybe they'll know where to start looking for potential prey species. I think you're tangled up with that leg there, aren't you? Seems like somebody had a bit of a sneezing bout there. Perhaps some grass flew into his nose. I know I've had it on a few occasions before. So I can relate to the sentiment. There we go. Some nice stretching. Well, that's not that nice, because that's very close to everyone. Natalie, you're wondering how the lions determine who grooms whom. Well, normally it'll start with females that are more closely related, so mothers and daughters, or the cubs and their mothers. And, oh my goodness, maybe that was it. And then it pretty much goes as a free-for-all. Everybody will pretty much groom anybody. Guys, honestly, you're playing with my feelings here. Such good expectations for you girls to get up and start moving around. Beautiful pose. And you see, there we go. We see the big toe, so we're seeing three of them, but also to the side, to the inner side of the paw that's at the bottom. That's where the fifth claw is, the famous dew claw that they use when in hunting. So it's a very important claw when it comes to bringing the animal down, because a lot of the times that's what they use to hook down their prey and bring it down. Oh, you've covered it up now. You're being shy. Guys, girls, actually, I was so sure that you were gonna get up. Natalie, you're wondering if lions dream. I think to some extent they do, but I'm not too sure if it's been determined that they dream like perhaps domestic animals do. But I do know that they get into this very deep REM cycles when they sleep. So likely I imagine they do. What they dream about though, I'm not too sure. Perhaps of a big fancy piece of steak today. Alright, well, we've got hope that you're going to tell them all that it's time to start moving, because you haven't stopped grooming, which is a good thing. Too many things in your skin today, in your coat. Snooky, you're wondering if lions get fleas like your dog does. Yes, they do. They get ticks and fleas and just little parasites here and there, because as you can imagine, when they start moving through these areas full of pretty much any type of life you can imagine, they'll pick up a thing or two on their fur when they start moving around. So that's why also the grooming is so important. It allows them to get rid of all these things that are jumping around on top of them. I think maybe they've been walking through some very funny places, because they just seem to have been spending a lot more time grooming their paws and their legs than any other part of their body. So I wonder if perhaps this drainage lines had a few more thorns or perhaps even parasites at some of the other places. But you can look now, the claws coming out. Very, very sharp claws. There we go. So definitely don't want to be anywhere in range of those powerful tools. Incredible. And now that she's not flexing her foot anymore or her paw anymore, then the claws have been retracted back onto their little pouch where they normally keep them, to avoid or prevent from them getting broken or blunt. Oh, that is impressive, isn't it? No one likes me. You're wondering at what age the cub starts hunting for prey. Well, these youngsters that are about a year old, they have already started accompanying their mothers when they go out hunting. However, because it's such a tricky thing being a lion and they hunt together, then I think it's going to be at least another year before they start being successful on their own and not ruining their mother's hunts. So, 10 sleeping lions and 1 grooming herself. Well, hello. Oh, there go the claws again. Being very careful not to hurt the cub. Powerful, isn't it, that you can show somewhat affection, or just take those claws out and not hurt each other. Whoop. And release the grip, and the cub has gone all the way down. So you've gotten up. Are you going to start waking the rest of them up? It's the second time you've had this big nice stretch. Oh no, it wasn't you. It was the other one. I'll forgive you. I got excited there. No. Waking up is such a long process for lions. This is them waking up. And I know it doesn't seem real. And it's been going on for very long. But we've had them grooming, and then they get up, and then they stretch, and then they move around. So it's almost like they've got to convince the rest of them that, hey guys, okay, it's time now. And everyone's slowly gonna get out of their slumber and start moving around and grooming one another. And it's almost like convincing them takes a strain. Now, the one that moved onto this area, she is busy doing two things at a time. She is scratching herself, and she is grooming that other lioness that was sleeping down there. So, like I said, good potential indication that they are not going to carry on toying with our feelings, and that they might get up and about before the show closes, so that we can accompany them for a bit of their nighttime activity. I wonder if perhaps it's almost like a game of tag you're it. As in, like, okay, I've groomed you. Off you go. You groom the next one and the next one, and so they go. We've got some old wounds there on the neck. Also, they seem like bite wounds, perhaps from another lion. They do look also like mating wounds, just judging by how close they are to the center of their spine. Now, this is a very agile lioness. She's grooming and scratching herself. Cecilia, you're wondering if the Birmingham boys are still around, and if they are, who's protecting this pride? Well, the Birminghams are still around, very much so. We have had some mystery ones moving in and out of the reserve, and judging by the tracks that we had this morning, at least one of them was with the pride sometime during the night, but he's carried on moving, and he went into a certain direction, and the rest of the pride, well, they came further south from where the boy went. Now, the Birminghams have been splitting their time amongst quite a few different prides of lions in this area. We've got the Torchwoods and the Sticks that they seem to have been accompanying for the last few weeks or so. So hopefully we'll be able to see them. We did see one of them, which we think was Nena, 2 or 3 days ago, but the rest of the pride was not around. So while they are around in this general area, they're also protecting pretty much all their cubs and all the prides of females that are in their territory, just to make sure that no other strange males come onto this area and start either trying to mate with their females or killing the cubs or taking over their territory. So the Birminghams are doing what they do best, which is pretty much patrolling everywhere else around here and keeping tabs with all the different prides of females that are in this area. Seems like Taylor has joined us back on Djuma, so let's go over to her and see where she's gonna go.
You know what, we've decided to come all the way back from Chitwa Dam, and we're not just checking around Shabamu. We'll go back towards Treehouse Dam and have a little scratch and see if anything further can be found of this leopard, this young male leopard that was moving around here at some point today. I had another look at the tracks just back on the junction of Gowrie Main and Shabamu, and they're definitely a lot fresher than the male lion tracks which were there from this morning. So, like I said, that says to us that it was definitely in between game drives. Now, it's cooled down sufficiently. I've had to put all my jerseys on. I'm actually freezing tonight. I should have worn long pants. Silly me. And with me getting cold like that, it must be the perfect temperature for a cat to move around. And hopefully we won't just get one of these leopards up and about, whether it's Tingana that we find, or Hosana, or Shongile, or Tumber and Tandi, Shadow and a cub. Any one of the leopards will be perfect. But hopefully those lions will start getting up soon Because they must have their tummies grumbling now. Tesla, you've said that Tangana is playing hide and seek, and he is the king of that game. He is indeed the 2017 world champion for hide and seek, or perhaps he's been the reigning champion for the last few years since he's had his reign on Djuma. And he's very good. Most of the cats are just so camouflaged, but we'll see. We'll start to get better cat sightings, I promise, as we head into winter and the vegetation thins out. It really does help when you can actually see with your eyes, because if they are, it's the biggest thing, and we see it all the time where the cats just sit underneath a shrub and hide away, and it's almost impossible to view them. And I've just realized I forgot that I had my spider with me and I need to take it out, so I think I'm going to do that now. I'm going to take it out with a silver cluster leaf. Maybe let's turn the car off. Let me break this off. No, and you can't come. I'm trying to get rid of the insects. Now I just need to dig in here. I need to coax the spider out. Don't go into any crevices. Come on, I'm not going to hurt you. No! And please don't jump in me. Don't go in there. On the leaf. This is now where I'm obviously not going to hurt the spider. It's under here somewhere. Here you are. Come on. Yes. Yes, almost. Almost on the leaf. Almost. Yeah. No, don't go in. I'm so sorry. I have to do this though before I forget. Now, I don't want to upset you. Now, I apologize if my arms and things get in the way. It's very difficult to try and maneuver here and try and get the spider out gently. I need the other leaf now. We'll go with the scoop technique. Off you go. Come here. Onto this leaf. Please just be a yes! There we go. Now we can actually take a closer look at it too. Ah! Jumped. Don't jump. You're not a jumping spider. We'll put it there. Let's have a look at it. We'll put some green background. It's very pretty. Now, where would you like to live? They live on trees, so I can put it on any one of the trees. It'll be quite happy. Typically a green tree, that's its natural camouflage. It can't change its color like the chameleons can. And those little hairs on the legs are very important to have. They almost act as little sensory nerves, so anything that moves about will be able to pick up the feeling of vibrations. Okay, now we need to scoop it back onto a leaf again. Go onto this one, please. I'm trying to be gentle. Yes, I know you're probably exhausted and starving, although there's lots of insects that live in the car. Don't crawl on my hand, please. I'm going to just put you there and then you can find your way around. Right. Spider mission successful. Hopefully it enjoys its new home out here. Hopefully I've chosen a good tree for it too. Right, let's keep searching. I'm just going to keep my eyes open again. I'm still checking the tops of the trees because I know that Tamba and Shongile like to sit in the tops of the trees, and there's so many marula trees around here that would make a perfect spot for any leopard to sit in. But I don't see any strange shapes or any tails dangling from those trees, so we'll check down here. We'll go check the dam again. Please let us find a leopard. Della, you said it's a snoozy Sunday for the cats. It is most certainly. They always do this though. They want to only wake up at the last second. Now I wonder where we're going to go from here. We'll go across the dam wall and have a little look around. Our water bike are no longer here. They've moved off. They've gone somewhere else. There's a little dacre running around in the far distance. Other than that, not much life. Even the birds have gone home for the rest of the evening now. Maybe let's check Savage's track. Let's go towards the hyena den then. I haven't driven Savage's track today. I actually don't think anybody has. So it might be a good route. I know, let me just check the termite mounds through here too. I would really like to find a cat of some sort just walking down the road, even if it is one of the smaller cats. It doesn't necessarily have to be a leopard or a lion. I'd be quite happy with an African wildcat or a serval or a caracal. Actually, I'd probably prefer one of those, because we are spoilt and we do see a lot of leopards and lions quite often, and we miss out, and I think we forget and underappreciate the smaller cats too. I got excited at one point today. There were some, I think they were drongos and magpie shrikes that were alarming in the long grass. They were sitting up in a tree, but we couldn't see what they were alarming at. And I was hoping that little ears were just going to prick up from the long grass, and it was going to be something like a serval or an African wildcat, maybe even a caracal. They're quite rare up here. We don't see them too often in a tree, but we couldn't see what they were alarming at. And I was hoping that little ears were just going to prick up from the long grass, and it was going to be something like a serval or an African wildcat, maybe even a caracal. They're quite rare up here. We don't see them too often. Just got to find the right spot, and we haven't found the right spot for where they are. Okay. Now, Kobe, a question from you. Oh, babblers are making quite a bit of noise this afternoon. One last call before they go to bed. Sorry, Kobe. So you've said, what do all the road names mean? So at the moment we're on Savage's Track. I don't know where that road name comes from at all. It's not it's an English word, of course. Shibamo is rifle. What else do we have? I'm trying to think that's interesting now. So some roads have got their names because of certain landmarks. Some roads might have had a special sighting and had some meaning to them. For instance, there's a road called Rebecca and a road called Zoe's, which are the daughters of the landowners on Djuma. So they gave them those names. Philemon's Cutline, I don't know, maybe there was a young lad named Philemon and he was the one who created this road. So they don't necessarily have to have any significant meaning. But like I said, it's so funny, wherever you go, wherever you work, you'll find that there's certain names on various reserves that are exactly the same. There's always the zebra plains, that's a big one. Or what else is there normally? And we were talking about this the other day. Serpentine Road is also another really common one. Ingwe Alley, that's one that you'll find all over. Other than that, I'm trying to think what else we've got on here. There's a whole lot of names that I've come across before, but we're almost at the hyena den now, the one that where we have been fortunate enough to see the hyenas a number of different times, and it did look like there was a little bit of activity around it this morning. Maybe we get lucky now and they've come out, if they are in there. Just search also just off into the distance and just see if I can't see anything running around. Almost there, I promise. We've just got about another 2 minutes to go. We're about to turn off into the den site now. Now this is a question we actually get asked quite often, and it is, do you ever get scared out there? And that question's from Snooky. No, not anymore. I don't. You get nervous though. We're also talking about this not so long ago when we were in infrared. Hang on, before we get to the hyena den, look at all these impala. If I can go into reverse. Hi guys. You all look very happy on this Sunday afternoon. There's just so many of them feeding on top of a termite mound with beautiful colors in the sky behind them as well. So no, I don't particularly get scared, but when you're sitting with an entire pride of lions in pitch darkness and you're just using the infrared, that's quite intimidating. That makes you a little bit nervous, but otherwise I feel relatively safe. I know that the animals don't want to hurt me. I'm not on the menu. As a human, I don't look like prey unless I was close to a crocodile or a polar bear, and we don't have any polar bears here, but a crocodile would want to eat me, so we keep away from them and make sure we stay in the car and don't hang around the water's edge or go swimming in Chitwa Dam. Otherwise you would find yourself probably at the bottom of Chitwa Dam with a crocodile. But something like these impala, they don't frighten me at all. I think they're probably more nervous of us than anything. And if I got out the car right now, they would all scatter in opposite directions. They'd be petrified of me, so I won't be doing that. So no, I don't think so. But I've also told this story quite a few times. The scaredest I have ever been was when I had to spend 24 hours all by myself out in the bush when I was doing my guide training. They called it me time. And that was a very humbling experience. I've never been so petrified in my entire life. Also, I was very inexperienced when it came to the bush, and of course I naturally thought that everything wanted to eat me, and when it didn't, and all the sounds in the night when you are on your own in the Big 5 game reserve, it can be quite intimidating. But now I'm not too worried about them at all. Right, let's quickly go to the den. Let's go and see. I haven't heard any noises coming from the den though. And the impala seem fairly relaxed. Right, let's have a look. Oh, I suppose we can put some lights on, hey? I wonder if there's going to be any chameleons. Actually, I haven't done any searching for chameleons. We'll try tonight as it gets a bit darker. It's still a little bit light though. Now, nothing just yet. We'll just go in nice and slowly, because if there is something, we don't want to startle and scare it away. No, doesn't look like anyone is home. No, it's very quiet. Doesn't seem like anyone is here. So sadly, we tried again with the hyena den, but we haven't succeeded. Maybe tomorrow morning, or maybe we see them now running around. We'll go check around quarantine. Ali has spent another afternoon with a cat, or with a whole lot of cats, and they're still grooming each other. They now must be the cleanest lions in the Sabi's hand. Let's go see how sparkly and shiny their coats are.
I'm sorry, I was talking on the radio and got completely caught up in that, just trying to let one of the guys know where we are so that they can come and have a look. It seems like one of the females and the young cub have been grooming for the last little while, so I am hoping that there'll be some action or some movement around in the next little while. It was very cute at some point. He was just holding his head, or her head, and pinning the mom down and just getting all sorts of loving, which was very, very sweet. Are you going to give your mother some more love? Aww. I nearly got a fright. I'm so happy I was watching her. Alright. Good bath. Oh, we've got 3 lions with their heads up. These are good times. Nice big yawn. I wonder if they're going to decide to start moving around anytime soon. Hello, pretty girls. Well, it does seem like it's a good thing. I see a lot more yawning going on. A lot more heads are starting to get up. So, I don't know. They have toyed with our feelings the whole afternoon. So let's just maybe stand by and see. But you can see now in the frame there's a lot more movement by a lot more lions than what we had a few moments ago. It's a good thing. I love it when they start getting their heads up and they all start doing the same thing. Very typical contagious behavior for lions. They'll all start at once. One starts doing something, it seems like the rest of them also engage in that activity, like grooming or yawning, and until pretty much everyone in the pride is doing it. Now we've got some young rebels that have not realized that this is grooming time and are not awake yet. Yeah, we are talking about you two in there. I think these two have decided that they're not particularly bothered just yet. And there's a third one over there also sleeping. Izzy, you're wondering if lions see in color or in black and white. Well, it is believed that they see in shades of black and white, and part of the reason for it is because they have more of a certain cell in their eyes called the rods rather than the cones, which are the color or the cells that allow us to view in color. Now, when they have more rods, this allows them to see a bit better during nighttime, but it allows them to pick up movement a lot quicker as well. So, widespread belief is that they see in shades of monochrome colors rather than in color. Although there are some new studies that suggest that they can see some colors, but I think it's all still quite a big debate. Waking up. Vivian, you're wondering if they get hairballs like domestic cats with all these grooming. Well, I've never seen a hairball come out of a lion. So I would imagine they do eat quite a bit of hair, but perhaps doesn't happen quite like the cats. I think also the problem with our domestic cats is that their hair tends to be a lot longer than the one of the lions, and that's perhaps why they get the hairballs. Don't know. It'd be interesting. I've never seen a lion regurgitate a hairball. I think at this point in time, more than hair, they're trying to get rid of parasites or perhaps any pieces of dirt or branches or thorns that might have gotten into their skin. Now I am starting to get a bit optimistic. 4 females have got their heads up and are grooming themselves. Sorry, Megan, I believe there was a comment from Leo Tony, but I couldn't hear the first part of it. Oh, so you're saying kudos to me for having big cats for 2 days running. Thanks, but I don't think I can claim it all for myself. Fuel, nice saving on fuel. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, yes. But I think it's just been lucky. I mean, we were quite thankful that Taylor found them this morning, so that was perfect, because then we knew exactly where we were going to come to check for them. Now, I was hoping, to be honest, to spend a bit of fuel following them as they moved around, but it seems like they had a different plan. So often, our activity is dictated by the activities of the animals that we're looking at. I think it's the last 2 days or the last 2 evenings have been very good on developing my patience skills, because they have certainly made me wait for them. But yes, I think Tristan would be quite happy that next time we go to town we're going to have to buy less fuel. It's always good to save on fuel. Beautiful. Somebody's rolling around. Waking up, are we? Alright, bit of a scratchy. See, there's lots of movement around, lots of stretching. Even the cubs that were nice and sleepy in the background seem to realize that it's time to start stretching out, getting ready. Monique from London, you say that you find very calming to watch these lions groom each other. I think it's a very special moment, just a bit of a more vulnerable side of their personality. Especially these 2 females being so gentle and so tender with one another. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, you're gonna carry on giving me frights. Always the one that I'm not looking at is the one that sneezes. Alright. Well, it's a good sign that also some of their biological needs are being attended to, because it's a good way of thinking that they're going to start moving. Although it does seem like you were also looking at something, but I can't really see what she was looking at earlier on. And I wonder if we're going to see them on the dam cam this afternoon, because if they all start moving in that direction, we're not too far from the dam, so maybe that's where they're going to be headed. Or perhaps they saw something else, again, something that we're not able to pick up. Alright, we are going to switch to infrared, as we are sure these lions are going to go off and probably looking for food, so we don't want to spook their prey or give them the bit of an advantage over their prey. This is incredible. All of them walking so close to us. I think, Seb, we have got the best job in the world. For sure. I am so happy. Alright, I just want to start repositioning myself. Mom, you're wondering if I can smell them from this distance. I don't really smell anything in particular, so no. If we were closer, they might smell. When they scent mark, that's when it's... Oh, they also lie and smell a bit like popcorn. But right now, we can't really smell anything in particular, and they're all around us, so I'm gonna try not to move too much, because again, I don't really want big lions thinking that they can eat me, as my mom would say, I'm just a chicken wing. So I wonder what she's looking at. They're all going a bit more into the open, which is great news, because it'll make our lives a bit easier when it comes to following them. But I think... Oh no, you are not going to start laying down in the open area, are you? Beautiful line of lions right in front of us. This is magnificent. Okay. My head. I'm trying to move out, sorry. Alright, there is one cub scratching its claws on the tree right next to us. Sorry, that's why my head was in the way, as you see. I'm trying to get out of the way to give you guys a better view, but he is pretty much by our wheels, so it's a bit tricky. Now, the rest of the females have gone onto this open area. And slowly they have carried on walking around. And it was funny. There was no fuss about it, just one started walking and then the rest of them instinctively knew that it was time to start moving around. Somebody's not willing to move around. Standing by. Ephraim, you're welcome to come and join. Beautiful, all of them. Now even the last cub, that was maybe the last one sleeping, has started to walk in front of us. Now it seems like the older females have got more of a stock pose and they are directing each other and telling the cubs where to go, but I think this is also going to be a slow process while all of them pretty much shake their slumber and start moving around. Hello, beautiful cub. Now these are the last two. Alright, interesting. Slowly, all of them moving around. Wonderful. I think all of our afternoon of patience was worth it just to see them all get up and move so close to us. This has been magnificent. I was really worried that they were all going to sleep all the time and not even wake up slightly while we were here. Are you guys just going to go sleep over there now? Seems like Taylor has managed to find one of the most curious nocturnal creatures, so let's go over to her while we discuss with these lions if they're gonna start moving or not.
I'm so excited for you, Ali. Your patience really is paying off. I need to come and learn some patience from you. But we found a chameleon. I didn't think we were going to still be seeing chameleons, as it has got quite chilly. I thought they would have been hiding away. But we have one sitting right up on the tops of a variable bush willow, just having a siesta. When we found it, it actually did have its eyes closed, so I turned the light off. It was fast asleep. But now that we have put the warm light on it, it has woken up just slightly. We won't bother it for too much longer though. Sometimes we do see the chameleons actually reacting in a negative way to the spotlight. This one doesn't change color or show any aggression whatsoever. I just know that I have disturbed it and I feel a little bit bad from waking it from its slumber. But at least it hasn't moved, so it's not too bothered by our presence. It's just having a little look around, as you can see. You'll be wondering, are you guys looking at me? Or have you seen something else that would potentially eat me? But nice. And quite a big one too. But it's a beautiful angle because you can really see how it's curled its tail right up and its feet are clinging onto that little branch now. And well, you'd need a vice of some sort to try and pry the grip of that chameleon off of that stick. I'm sure it's holding on very, very tightly. And I suppose it has to, because if the wind does pick up and those trees start to blow around a bit, you can see they're bouncing a bit ever so slightly. It'll need to be able to hold on and not fall off too easily. But a beautiful reptile. Okay, chameleon, I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much. We've been seeing so many of you, so I won't bother you for too much longer. But nice. We'll see if we can find some more. Right. We're going to keep looking for the smaller nocturnal creatures that roam around during the night, and I'm going to send you back across to the Nkuhumas, who are finally up and about.
Well, they are up and about. However, it seems like we've got a bundle of cubs over here. 5 of them have been left somewhat behind, and I think the females have carried on going. It seems like maybe they'll pop down to Vuyatela or to Gauri Dam for a drink. I think that's roughly the direction where they were headed, and we're not too far from it, so hopefully they'll be there. But I'm a bit more concerned at the fact that these cubs have stayed behind and the females have carried on moving, and there's been impalas snorting around us all of the afternoon. So I wonder if perhaps they're not trying to go around and catch one of those impala that's been in this area. We're gonna give them a few minutes, and if there's nothing happening around here, then we're gonna go back to the roads and see if perhaps we can spot any of the females. I think very exciting times ahead. I reckon these lions are going to have quite a long night, and hopefully they won't have a long night. Hopefully they'll be successful and they'll be able to enjoy a good meal. As you can see there on the frame, we've got the 3 on the left hand side, and then we've got 2 on the right hand side, and I think one of the other ones is just a bit further ahead. Tanel, you're wondering how the cubs know when to stay behind. There is some sort of communication, maybe practice, or maybe just instinct, and they know exactly when to stay behind because they're not old enough to participate in the hunts just yet. So as they start getting older, often they're going to ruin the hunts because they're going to get a bit too excited and they're going to think that they can approach the prey when they can't really. So I think maybe now they've also learned by experience that when the mothers start walking in a certain pose, that it's a good cue for them to stay put and then just wait. I wonder where they've all headed off to. Terrence, you're wondering how we know which ones are the leaders. Well, often there will be a female that's slightly older and more dominant in the way that she will maybe fight them off, kills more often than not, and just once she starts moving around, and the rest of the pride tends to follow her in her movements. There's a bit of a hierarchy that's earned by just showing how strong they are. I wonder if they have carried on towards the dam. You see, these youngsters are very still. So the mothers have definitely gone off on the hunt. Like we said, we had impala around this area pretty much all of the afternoon, so I wonder if that's what the females are gonna go after. I haven't seen any buffalo around here, so I think maybe buffalo's not on the menu tonight. Perhaps some zebra. There were also some zebra around here earlier on. Trying to see if perhaps we can see any of the other females moving along. We're going to maybe go back to the road, see if we can pick up where these females have gone off to, but while we do that, let's go over to Taylor, who's got her spotlight out.
We're hoping to spot things with spots. That would be nice. A bush baby, an owl, maybe even another chameleon to have a look at. Oh my goodness, listen to this cricket. Let's see if it's going to make a noise again. You can hear a couple of them in the distance. It'll be very difficult to hear, but we'll see if this one, it sounds like one of the males. We'll see if he responds to the other call that's just going off at the moment, but it's very, very high pitched. And what they do is they dig themselves a little burrow of sorts and they reverse into them, and then obviously all that noise is then amplified and becomes quite loud. But I don't know if he's going to make the noise here. I think it senses that we are here and will want to stay hidden. Let's see if we can get anything. Here we go, it's just starting, very faint. And it's not the cicadas this time round. No, not wanting to respond. That's a pity. Oh well, I'm sure you have all heard enough crickets in your lifetime. No more chameleons. This is a really good area for chameleons, so we actually might see some more in here. Let's see how good my eyes are. I've probably driven past a whole lot. I almost drove past the one we just had a moment ago, and then I went, let's go back and check. And it was indeed the chameleon. What else? It smells like lucerne going through this area, so I don't know if there's been some animals that were grazing or pulling the branches down. It smells like lucerne and freshly cut grass. It's quite a nice smell actually. Excuse me, scrub hair. There's a little scrub hair on the road. We're just going to dim the lights and let it go past. There we go, off the road. That was quick and easy. No, don't come back this way. It's now running next to me. Okay, it's gone now. I think what we'll do is we'll go through Philemon's Dip and back up onto Quarantine, and if we have enough time perhaps we'll go towards Vuyatela Dam, but I don't know if, whoop, that was a big bump. I don't know if we'll get there with time to spare, but we shall try. Are there any requests coming through for this evening, Megan? Oh, only 9 minutes left. No, I don't think we'll have enough time then. Alright, so normally I know a lot of you send in your requests at night as to what critters you'd like to see. Oh, there are all those impala. I'm trying to pop onto the road. The ones we saw near the hyena den have now moved from the hyena den and are just standing off on the road. No, they just look very normal impala, not doing anything too exciting. Just want to check. No, not doing anything exciting. Now, Christine, you would like me to try and find you an owl. Maybe we'll find those pearl-spotted owlets that live quite close to... Where do they live? Near Inga's. I'm going to have a try there. Let's see, maybe we get lucky. There's that cricket's making a noise this side now. There's obviously plenty of them out and about. Come on, chameleon trees, you're on my lucky trees here. Check down there, no leopard walking along the road. And this is also a good area for hyenas. It's often where we see them as we come round the bend. They're just normally waiting up at Ingwe Alley for us, but not tonight. Nothing in that marula tree now. I was talking about bush babies just a moment ago, and Arla and Moyo are wondering if the bush babies are still around. Yeah, they are. I saw them just before I went on leave. They were bouncing about, and I'm sure I heard one on the roof last night too, in and amongst the commotion between the hyenas, lion, leopards that were all making a racket around camp. Or it could have been the genet that lives in camp as well, but it just sounded like bouncing on the roof, and it actually makes quite a noise, especially on corrugated iron roofs. But yes, they should be. We should still see them. I'm just obviously not looking in the right places. Whose eyes were those? Let me check here. Impala, right. No, we won't worry about them. We'll carry on. The exquisite bliss, you're wondering if I can make an owl call. I can do a pearl-spotted owlet. That's not a traditional owl call, is it? So let's try like a spotted eagle owl. They just make a normal hoot noise. No, I don't even know how to do an owl sound. Can you do scops? Okay, go Gert, let's hear. We're gonna do, listen to this. This is actually quite amazing. That's very good. I almost thought it was a scop sound, so we've got quite talented. Actually, do you know what? Gert does the best hippo call I've ever heard. Can you please do one for me, because it's the closest I've ever heard anybody doing a hippo call. Listen to this, is quite amazing. That's so cool. I'm so envious because I try so hard and I practice the hippo call all the time and I can't get it that right. So it seems as though we've got a master of the animal call sitting behind the camera, and I think while you are here you're going to have to do some more calls for us. So I don't know how to I don't know how to do a normal owl call. I don't know. I'm going to disappoint you, so I'll have to practice my normal owl calls. Let's see what else we've got here. Is there anything? No, it's very quiet. I don't know if we're going to make it to Vuyatela Dam. We're on quarantine now though, in the big open clearings, so we're not far from home. Sorry, lapwings. Shouting at me because I drove past them. Always doing that. I heard some impala rutting. There's a couple of scrub hares out and about too tonight, out grazing. What else? Any nice birds? This is a good area to see barred owlets as well. Seen them around here too. Let's go down towards the dam. But you've asked for bats. There are actually loads of bats flying around at the moment. I've been seeing them the last 2 nights, but it's hard to get them on camera, and there doesn't seem to be any flying around above us now. But that might be a challenge for us as we go about the next few weeks, is to try and see how many bats we can get on screen. What would be nice and ideal is if we could get them silhouetted against the beautiful sort of orange, blue, purple skies that we see at this time of the night, and from a distance. That might be one of the easier ways, because their movements are so erratic. It's very, very difficult. Now you probably see my spotlight if you are watching the dam cam. I just want to come down and investigate, because I know that Ali said that she thought perhaps some of those lionesses had already started moving. What's this? Another scrub hare. Goodness. Scrub hares everywhere. But I'm going to do a quick search around here. Ali's still got the lions and she's sitting with the cubs.
The cubs are all around here. We tried going and looking for the females, but it seems like the females are heading more towards the dam. So we're going to try and go around and see if perhaps we can relocate the females around the around the dam, because the cubs are very patiently waiting around here. Now we tried following them all the way through this thicket. However, I think that it's a bit too thick for even Wendy to try and maneuver around here. So actually, we're going to try and get us out of here and see if perhaps we can just relocate on the adults that are, I'm very sure, busy hunting. But how sweet are the cubs? They know how to behave and how to stay put, and which way is best for them to go once the mothers go off hunting. Now I'm trying to get us out of here, but like I said, it is a bit thick, so I need to be able to see what's going on here. Hopefully if I go around here that'll be fine. And we're gonna go through a bit of a tough spot. Alright. I think maybe... Alright. Alright. Well, we've got such a lovely view of the two of them there that I think it's worth just spending our last few moments with them. Just keep your eyes on the dam cam. I'm sure they will pop out there, because that's straight the direction where the females were heading off to. I can't believe you're still sleepy. You just woke up. I think the other one agrees as well. Nice grooming going on. What exciting times. I'm sure they're going to have a very, very, very interesting night just moving around. And like I said, keep your eyes open on the dam cam. Maybe we'll see them going all the way down there and having a drink. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? I think the females are on the road walking in that direction, and the cubs are still waiting here. So lots of life around any water source at the moment. Maybe some warthogs. There's always a wildebeest somewhere around, and of course all the impala that we heard around here. I think it's going to be a very interesting night, and who knows, maybe tomorrow we will wake up to find more tracks and have more news about how these lions have been faring during the night. Interesting. Very interesting times ahead. I think we have had a wonderful Sunday afternoon. I don't think we could have asked for anything else. We've seen them get up. We had Tingana this morning. We saw them walking today. I think it's been a wonderful weekend all ahead. We can be very grateful for the wonderful day that we've had, and we'll see you all tomorrow to see what happened during the night.